Take me back to my reversion. Unite the clans, I give thanks to each person. It's that same holy water that we immerse in. It's that same tradition that we all each verse in. United we stand and divided they win. They ignited in their plans and divided they sin. If you think about it and see us all for the same lands, their biggest fear is that we all remain friends. I got love for Team Marsh and y'all podcast. I got love for Michael Matt fans. Ryan Grant, Rick, Verity, Flanders, and Eric Sammons. Shout out to my boy, John Everton. Avoid Babylon. I got love for Anthony and Rob Speak On. If you tried, you're persecuted the same for the weak heart. Our rules go way back before the Genesis, the Greek ark, sweetheart. Yeah, this a mass of the ages. Shout out to Bishop Athanasius, Father Dave Nix, Red Pill, we out the Matrix. Haters.
Want to hop in and chat with us now? Sorry, guys. I'm sending people messages. Welcome back to the chaos.
The train wreck is back.
Train wreck is back. We are curious. What did you guys think? What did you guys think? I don't know. I don't. It was such a weird thing to be like, with my wife watching.
Respectable, professional.
Yeah, like, 'cause my wife is next to me, so like I had to like tone it down a little.
I could tell there was times you wanted to click on certain comments, but decided not to.
Yeah, Margot says it was too civilized.
Too civilized, yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit.
But at the same time, I feel like they probably would have rolled with it pretty well. They're very approachable, right? I mean,
yeah, I thought so. I thought they were. Especially knowing, like, they know, like, it's almost like they kind of know from seeing what my temperament is right away. We're back on.
Oh.
Anthony couldn't get enough, Nicole.
Can't stay away from each other.
No.
Can you hear me?
No matter how much I try.
Can't stay away from you, Rob. You're all I hear about. Rob.
I'm sorry.
All right, get out of here. I'm talking to my friend.
Right,
this is my real friend.
Right. Go back to your downstairs corner. I'm just kidding.
Now this is kind of scary, Anthony.
What is that? White Wolf sent me. Oh no, this guy's probably crazy too.
Oh, you're alive.
Nah.
Yeah, we're live.
What do you mean?
Max says you need your own show, Nicole.
Wait, I didn't know we were
The
live.
Nicole and
Max says you need.
We were live last time too. You knew that, right?
We just wanted to see what people thought of it, so we figured we'd pop in. Most people, Margot says it was too civilized.
Yeah.
Caitlin wants to know how the cat is. We brought the cat. She wants to bring the cat. This woman and a cat. Every day I come home and she's like, "Did you see the cat?" I'm like, "I don't care about your cat. Like, I just don't care about the stupid cat." Let's see. Yeah, Margot. Oh, sorry. What did you say, Rob?
I was gonna say, people can say what they want about White Wolf, but he's pretty loyal to watching, and he does spread the word about us. So,
dude, I like him. I
do too.
He's the most. I mean, look, he says whatever's on his mind. I mean, he said in the chat before. He said, "I've been kicked out of more chapels than St. Paul was kicked out of synagogues." You want to?
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, she just wants to show the kitty off. She doesn't realize. Listen,
Anthony's eyes are getting watery as we speak.
We've been down this road before. We're gonna keep this thing for 6 months and then get rid of it. This is what we do. We keep an animal. It starts destroying the house and it goes.
Everyone loves Chinese food, right?
Exactly. We're gonna cook it one night.
No.
I'm gonna let it go. I'm just gonna bring it to the Bronx. I'm gonna let it go at work one day.
Look at it.
Drop it. No, I'm not gonna say that.
Yes, it is a kitten, not a cat.
Oh.
So yeah, I was really nervous. Like, well, first off, like, I want to make sure if a guest comes on that they give a good review of their time with us, right? So it's like you don't want to get the reputation of like being like total goofballs. Like it's you want if they ever, especially with Sophia, like they work with Sophia. So if we want to get another Sophia guest, I want to make sure a show.
I don't know what you're talking about, Joe.
I don't know what that means, Joe.
What time is it over there down under anyways?
Joe's from Australia?
thought so, or is that someone else?
No. I think he is. I think you're right.
I'm pretty sure.
But we can see you in the mirror, right?
What?
I'm kidding.
Staring at the cat.
She's holding the cat in the mirror next to me. I'm like, we can see you in the mirror. What's it called? Bob came. Oh my God, get this thing away from me. So like they're, especially because they wrote their books with Sophia Institute. If we want to get other authors on, I want to make sure they give a good review so that we could get future authors on.
We had a serious show. Oh, because of Father Laval.
Father Laval was very dry, right? He was very like.
It's a Chicago thing, though.
Yeah, I think so. I think he liked it. I think he had fun.
That sort of dry, take a shot at you sort of humor is definitely Chicago.
I mean, that fit right in with me. It came right out the bat, making fun of my Long Island accent. Don says, I missed the show, but if you guys were respectable, I don't feel too bad. Don, you should watch it. It was a good one. Very lighthearted. But the wives were on with us. But
it was useful, which is not something we do well.
Yeah, I think it was very informative. Like, I think I asked good questions, right? You gave me the outline for the questions beforehand, but some of them were so intuitive that I didn't even have to look at the questions. They were like, they just came naturally.
Well, to be fair, Laraine gave me those questions, so they knew kind of where the convo was going and probably helped lead it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So she sent you the questions ahead of time.
She did.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So that's what Connor should have done when I came and interviewed him. He's not going to see this. Don't worry. Yes, I say what you think. That's the thing. Like, you think it, and then I say it, and then I get in trouble because I was the big mouth that said it. That's how
you actually don't say things near as bad as what I actually think, but you definitely say things worse than I would ever say.
Yeah, you would never.
Like the gap between what you think and what you say. This is what you think. This is what you say.
Yeah, there is no gap.
For me, this is what I think, but this is what I say.
So we were. I think I told this story, but yeah, we were at my brother's house, my sister's house, and we were talking about the Temperament because I just started reading the book, and my older brother was like, he's like, Aunt, do you think about what you're gonna say before you say it? I'm like, I don't know if I've ever hesitated. Like, if something comes in my head, it's out my mouth before it actually is developed in my mind. Like, and I'll start talking and trying to work out an idea as I'm speaking without actually thinking ahead of time.
See, I'm the opposite. I don't speak unless I know word for word what I'm going to say, plus have 3 or 4 responses to whatever I think the person could say in response to what I said.
Do you want to listen to what Rob's saying? You can't hear him. He's talking. Just sit. She's standing here trying to read your lips.
So, Mac, my question for you is, number one, are you the phlegmatic melancholic, and is your wife the melancholic phlegmatic? And if that's the case, does she do the melancholic dump on you? Because even though I'm secondarily melancholic, well, I don't do it as often as Hope. There are times where I will dump on her if because
if it builds up enough,
because I let it build up, and that part of the phlegmatic nature that wants to be diplomatic, sometimes that just gets overwhelmed and I just let loose, even not just on Hope but on good friends too.
I think Hope has a way. She's way more sarcastic than you.
Yeah.
Right. So.
But is that a temperament?
No, I'm saying what I like. I Hope is way more sarcastic, but she's also way more take no crap than you. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the more melancholic part, right? It's that more idealistic, can sometimes hold a grudge sort of thing. Another person who is like that to a T is Joe, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Joe's like it. I would not be surprised if Joe is completely melancholic.
He took the test. He actually texted it to me. I'll tell you exactly. Oh. He's slightly choleric with melancholic. I mean, he's
that's dangerous. A dangerous combination.
Yeah, man. It's like,
why?
But at the same time, if you want someone fighting for an ideal, Joe, I mean, that's perfect then.
So let me just see real quick. He said
Why
that
is
to
it
me.
dangerous?
So it's he doesn't care about relationships much. So yeah,
It's all about ideals for him.
so he's 65 melancholic and 55 or 45 choleric, which that's a lot of choleric in there, which I didn't think he was that much. I would have thought he was way more melancholic, where I think Kennedy is choleric melancholic. So Kennedy, you can see he's just as idealistic, and Kennedy's that alpha male, bro. He'll get right in your face. Like he's I mean, you see this whole thing going down with Lofton, right? It's like,
yeah,
Kennedy, if you say something about Lefebvre, Kennedy will actually take it as if it's spoken to him, right? Like he's got that melancholic idealism.
It's instant, right? That reaction is like viscerally instant in him.
Yeah.
Whereas Joe probably lets it fester.
He'll fester and he'll think about it a little more. But what I think with Joe and Kennedy is there's nobody that. So you and I are the diplomats, right? You and I don't want to. The relationships are everything to me and you.
I will compromise on an ideal, not completely, right? Obviously, but I will make some compromises on ideals for friendships or for exactly.
For the sake of the relationship. So where the two of them together, it's like, I mean, dude, when
Mark, you want to come on?
Yeah, Mark, hop in with us. So when we were with Joe, I was trying to talk to Joe about not letting it slip about his feelings about Francis for a while.
Yeah.
I was like, Joe, keep it in. Like, and he got to a point where he felt he was being dishonest.
Once again, an ideal, right?
An ideal.
He felt like he had to be honest with himself and with us.
Yeah, so it was like I was telling him, like, Joe, just keep it to yourself. Like, don't say. I didn't want to see him burn any bridges with opportunities or things like that. But I mean, he came out and said it, and people accepted it. Okay, but it was like for you and I, like you and I, especially, that's why we do what we do on our channel. We don't talk about the stuff going on in the church because we are trying to build relationships with our audience and have like more of a community type thing where they're just like, all right, this is what is going on. And we're going to discuss this thing and this is how it's going to go. Right. It's like,
right.
I mean, Kennedy, nobody breaks down a news topic going on like Kennedy. The guy is amazing. He puts those 15, 20-minute videos out and I'm like, he's the guy I want to go to listen to those things.
Yep.
So let's see. Margo says he's idealistic about Traz and attacking the Daily Wire. Margo, that's not what he was doing.
What he was saying is, he like anyone else was probably happy for more attention on the TLM. I think for him, what was somewhat upsetting was people maybe waking up to the TLM. He wasn't upset that people were waking up to it. He's upset that it took someone like Matt Walsh instead of a legend like Lefebvre, right? That's, I think, what got him going. Is that?
Yeah, I think he's misguided in that understanding, right? So I explained it like this. I said it's like your favorite underground band is your favorite band, and then all of a sudden they get radio play, and it's like, no. Like you almost want the traditional mass to be a little bit of like punk rock because you want it to be. That's what's making it countercultural is that it's punk rock right now. It's like it's all young people going there. It's like these young men who are like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to live my life differently than the culture is right now. You don't have to stay.
I know.
Yeah. Love you.
I love you.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't want to be rude.
Yeah, you don't want to be in this conversation.
I don't know what that.
So for it's like I said when Metallica had Enter Sandman hit the radio, you know, it was like I missed the days of Master of Puppets. Like I was jamming out to Master of Puppets before the Black Album came out. Black Album came out and Metallica was everywhere. But I said to Joe, like, it's like. You do want that, of course. You want more people to go and check out the Latin. I mean, look, when Taylor Marshall started promoting the Latin Mass, how many of us go to the Latin Mass because of Taylor Marshall? I know I do. I don't know what your what your story is behind what you found.
When I decided it was something I needed to look into more, his videos were the most easily accessible source, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at least I found him to be. So yeah, definitely.
Taylor put out a challenge in 2017. It was 2017. He put out a challenge. It was at Advent, and he said, "Look, I'm going to challenge you to go to all 4 Advent masses at a traditional mass, because he knows you go to one and you might feel out of place.
Yeah,
but by that 4th one, you feel at home, and you will feel alienated going back to the Novus Ordo. To be fair to you." You may not mean to talk about the stuff going on in the church, but even you guys are.
I think what we mean when we word it like that is more, we're not partisans necessarily of one side or the other, or of certain issues. Obviously, we talk about the church, and that's kind of like our world in a sense, right? Like,
yeah, I
at
mean, we're
least,
Catholic.
at least on here.
Yeah,
well,
we're
yeah,
Catholic. Yeah, we're not telling people go to the traditional mass. It's the only one you're allowed to go to. We're not telling people if you go to the Novus Ordo, it's problematic. I'm not going to take a position like that. I'm just not. It's not like, for me. It's, look, to me, what it really comes down to is, as messy as things are right now, I don't think. I think what mass you go to and how seriously you take your faith can actually make you a saint. But what really comes down to is, are you living a holy life, and are you striving for sanctity? Like, that's really what, like, you're not going to, when you get to the gates of St. Peter, he's not going to say, what liturgy did you attend? He's going to say, did you love your neighbor? Did you love your enemies? Did you treat others the way you wanted to be treated? Did you live by the golden rule? Now, the reason we go to mass is because the mass gives us the grace to do those things, right? Because you can't just be nice to people. It's not just, just love people. It's not as simple as that. It takes supernatural grace to do these things, which is why you can't get into heaven without being Catholic, because there's no salvation outside the church. I will take that stand, but
that's just de fide dogma.
Right. So yeah, if something's dogma, I'm not into the whole ecumenism thing. There's things that I will, but I'm not going to take a stand on issues that are causing major contention in the church right now. I just don't feel like adding to it. I'm not smart enough either. I'm not educated. I don't have a PhD in theology, stuff like that. Right.
It either takes a lot of competency or a lot of pride to talk about that. And I know I don't have the competency, so I try not to have the pride.
Well, you're definitely more competent than I am, right? Especially on a lot of issues, you're definitely more competent. I mean, look, I know these things. I don't have the language for them sometimes. It's just the way it is. But let's see, like, I'm sorry. Hit that again, Rob. I almost left the church because of the lockdowns, and I found the traditional mass. Yeah, so like,
I think it's hard to deny that when the lockdowns were at the worst, I mean, it's hard to deny that the TLM and the society of the SSPX largely was the group standing against it and offering the sacraments. Now, does that mean those who did lock down were necessarily doing so from bad motives? No, of course not. But I think in hindsight, it's hard not to give a lot of credit to the TLM and specifically to the SSPX because of what they did.
So even before the lockdowns, I would occasionally visit a chapel, right? Like, it's not my parish. I don't go there, but I try to always just follow what the church said. Like, if that's the only mass you could get to, it's totally acceptable to go. It's not, so I never made it my home parish. It would just be, if it was the most convenient mass for me to go to and I had something to do that day, but that the timing worked out, I just tried to follow the church's guidelines. If that's when you would do that, that's what I did. I always try to follow the church's guidelines.
Yeah.
It's just always what I tried to do. But I never looked at the society like they were in schism. I don't see it that way. And especially because of some of the best Catholics I know go to the chapel. They're just some of the greatest people I know are chapel attendees, you know? I mean, then to me, I'm not going to say that somebody that goes to the chapel doesn't have goodwill.
And whether or not, I think people conflate the issue of whether or not the structure and hierarchy of the society is in schism with whether or not the Catholics who attend Mass at a society chapel are in schism. I think those are two separate issues.
Yeah, that we're not going to weigh in on either one. We're just saying
those right. No, exactly. I'm not. Yeah, I don't have the competency to weigh in on the hierarchy part, and I don't have the authority to weigh in on on any of it.
I'll tell you, even when Father Laval was on last night, some of the things he was saying, I was like, not that I didn't agree with him, that I almost was like, I don't want the controversy on our channel. Like,
yes,
you know, it wasn't that I don't agree with him. I probably do agree with everything he said. It was just like, all right, we try not to do that here because we don't want to alienate people. We want, like, I don't consider somebody who attends the Novus Ordo any less Catholic than I am. I consider a left Catholic less Catholic than I am.
Darn you for calling us out, Alex.
Well, we were waiting for feedback from you guys, and you guys didn't give us much feedback. So we asked you, what did you guys think of it? How did it go?
Was any of it a surprise, or like was any of it new? Because I got interested in the temperaments because I saw and heard so many other people on Catholic Twitter, on the Meaning of Catholic, on other YouTube shows talking about it. So I feel like I'm late to the game personally.
You opened my eyes to so much with the temperaments thing. And it really started right before we went to Steubenville. Mm-hmm. You made a couple of comments. And then when we went to Steubenville, you actually read what a sanguine was. Now, it didn't describe me perfectly because you didn't have my secondary temperament yet.
I was trying to figure that out.
I did suspect it.
Well, I guess for me, at first I thought you were more choleric with some, sanguine.
So you thought choleric was my main?
Originally, but getting to getting to know you more, like personally in person at Steubenville, that's when I started to realize, like, no, this guy just wants you're a stereotypical party host, right? I mean, that's you basically. You want everyone to have fun, and you want to be the one to kind of create that fun.
Yeah. That's so funny. I am a stereotypical sanguine. Yeah, so it's like, it's not just that. It's like when I heard that you weren't going to be able to go, it was like I would have moved heaven and earth to get you there.
You did.
But that's what I mean. If it meant me driving to Minnesota, I would have. Like I didn't care what I had to sacrifice. I just wanted my friend there. It was like I don't know. There's very good things to having that temperament, and there's very bad things. Those weaknesses. Yeah, those weaknesses are no joke, and it doesn't mean I commit those. It means those are my weaknesses. Those are tendencies. So, at first, I didn't understand insincerity because I was like, I'm not insincere. Like if I say something, I mean it. But what that means is, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say it. To me, what that means isn't that you're insincere. It's kind of that flighty, how you can come off as flighty. Not that you're actually insincere, but because you kind of flit from thing to thing to thing to thing, it can kind of seem insincere, or that you're not actually thinking about it.
And I was thinking insincere meant like if I'm saying thank you to somebody, I don't mean it, or if I say sorry to somebody, I don't mean it. That's not what that means. It means exactly what you just said. I'm very flighty. So it's like, I do flip from one thing to another. It's almost difficult to find something to be passionate about, right? Like, because different things catch your interest constantly. It's like, for me to even have this podcast that I'm passionate about, dude, I really enjoy doing this. Like, it's something I look forward to every time we're going. I don't know why. We're just having a conversation. It's like, but I really do look forward to it. and I look forward to interacting with the people. It's a very fun thing for me. I don't see us dropping it anytime soon.
No. Right? Now, it's funny because, you say one of your weaknesses, your temperament's weaknesses, in a general sense anyways, is insincerity. The sanguine, you're sanguine, I'm phlegmatic. Both are that people person, except you're extroverted, I'm introverted. So whereas your weakness, one of them is insincerity, one of mine is apathy. So whereas it seems like you kind of don't care because you're too busy going from thing to thing, me, it can just seem like I don't care because I just don't care. You know what I mean? Like it's like an introverted type of
is that okay? So now it appears as apathy, but it's not the actual case, though, right?
Not always. I mean, I'm not going to lie. There are times, for instance, Connor, if you're watching, I've already told you this separately, but like when Connor asked me to be on the election show next week, well, and I said no. Part of it is obviously I'd like more time with my wife and kids, right? But I also told him I'm just not that interested in the election. It's not because, there's a lot of reasons for that, but part of it is just kind of I just don't feel it's important anymore. And so I just have a hard time putting effort into something that it's like, eh.
Hang on one sec, Rob. What do you want me to order? It's 10 people. Don't worry about it.
Hear that, everyone?
Do you want it?
He doesn't care.
Do you want it? All right.
That's insincerity right there.
Are you sure? I don't know.
No,
this is nothing. We don't. Go look through it, whatever you want.
Don't order the Chinese food. You might lose a cat.
Yeah. I actually, before we did the show, I was like, oh, we'll go out for a date. I totally forgot about it. I thought the test nailed my weaknesses, but I didn't get my strengths accurate. So Don, you go ahead.
What is Don? You might know. I don't know.
I think Don is definitely melancholic. He's definitely introverted. I think he has phlegmatic in him too, though, because Don isn't idealistic like that. Like you know what I mean? Like, and he's always trying to make peace on Twitter, even if it's in his own dry, sarcastic way. Yeah, listen, Don. He also doesn't like controversy and drama. Like Don doesn't watch most of Catholic Twitter or Catholic YouTube at all.
Right.
He's not into watching Taylor Marshall and Kennedy.
Oh, see that? He's almost a perfect mix of both phlegmatic and melancholic.
Yeah. So, but that's wild. So it's like, he's very concerned with relationships, right? Like when he saw me and Rob, Don will message me privately sometimes and tell me maybe you handled that a little wrong, right? So like he has no problem confronting me because he knows I fly off the handle, and Don and I are close enough that he'll say something like that to me, and he'll actually tell me, look, maybe but he does it very diplomatically because he is concerned. Don does not want to sacrifice his friendship with me. He knows I'll listen to his advice if he gives it to me. So I would think he's more phlegmatic than melancholic. He's definitely an introverted deep thinker. He's not an outgoing guy. It was like pulling teeth to get him to talk to me after mass the first time or two. Actually, you know what? No, the first time we talked, he confronted me.
Really?
Yeah. So he had seen interactions between me and Steve Skojak, and the first time Don and I met, it was after mass, and he goes, you're on Twitter, right? I'm like, yeah. He goes, I've seen interactions with you and Steve Skojak, and we had like a quick 2-minute conversation. And then I came home that day and I went on Twitter. I was like, oh, I met somebody after mass today that recognized me from Twitter, and he made a joke, like classic Don dry humor. He goes, like, I forgot what the joke was, but it was just such a sarcastic, dry thing. I was like, okay, I like this guy. And then then we just started, and now anytime I see Don, we talk for a few minutes.
Yeah, Margo, you're right here. Coming off as apathetic, it's hard for me to fake being enthusiastic. Definitely.
So if I had a terrible day at work.
Do it for me.
What, Hope?
They said you can't even do it for me.
Yeah, Hope says I can't even fake being enthusiastic for her sometimes.
Where I can put it on.
Not even sometimes.
Yeah, I bet you. But at the same time, I bet many times you don't even have to put it on where I'd have to or try to.
Well, here's what I mean. If I had a terrible day at work, I will have no desire whatsoever to do the show sometimes, especially trivia, because like we have to do trivia on whatever day we schedule it for, because we invited guests on. And it's like something like this we could cancel at the drop of a hat. It's like it's just the two of us. But when you invite guests on, especially like, and people are expecting it, like I felt like I'll feel like I want nothing to do with it. As soon as I'm in that green room, I'm like, all right, let's go. It's like there's people around. Let's go, guys. Let's have some fun. So I don't think anybody has ever seen me on the trivia show where they would know I had a bad day that day.
Yeah. There's probably, I can probably see it more than them, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're more tuned into, and plus me and you were texting beforehand, and I'm saying, I'm like, dude, I don't even know if we can handle this today. But like once performance time comes on, I can perform,
Yeah.
Where are you ordering from? Wild Ginger?
Yeah.
Oh, I just want I'm going to get sushi.
No, I got sushi.
Yeah, not the ones I want.
Well, I got the red dragon or whatever.
Let me see here. Sorry, guys. I'm getting the dancing roll.
Don says, you were saying that you don't feel bad bailing on me. But the thing is, Don, he's never bailed on me.
No, I haven't. Wait.
The
one time I did was when I worked that double shift, but I wasn't bailing. Like I could not function, right?
I'm trying to remember what you're talking about when Jason and I did the episode.
No, but I even tried to do that. I just couldn't do that. But no, there was one time I remember we had the trip. Remember the first time Matt Gaspers was supposed to come on? It was the first time he was supposed to come on, and I felt so bad. I worked a double shift, and I was going to try and stick it through. And I was
but we canceled the show. It's not like
right. Oh yeah, I never left you hanging like that. But
right,
I had to bail because it was just way too much for me. Let me see. Sorry, I'm ordering food here.
So their quiz page, right? Their website gives famous people for your temperament. So like for me, famous people, famous phlegmatics. I know on the show I said St. Thomas Aquinas, but Pope John the 23rd is on there. I don't know enough about him to determine if that's true. St. Gregory Nazianzen is another one. Let's see. They also list like fictional characters. Like apparently Winnie the Pooh is phlegmatic.
So they'll even break down fictional characters like that.
Yeah. I mean they have Ron Weasley, which I know Harry Potter's kind of a contentious issue. Calvin Coolidge for history buffs. Keanu Reeves. I could see Keanu Reeves being that sort of like diplomatic peacemaker, phlegmatic.
Everybody says they like Keanu Reeves. Like no matter who you talk to, everybody, he seems like he probably has either similar to you or similar to my wife.
I know he's pretty introverted. You don't see him going out to parties or events necessarily. So
yeah. So I thought you and my wife were very similar because you just came off as so likable to me, but my wife is outgoing. I mean, we went to that Halloween party. Like everybody there was so happy me and Nicole were there. Like we were just like, we're the life of the party. We get everybody going. Like we get everybody to line up shots. We have fun. Like we light the place up when we're together. Her and I are a dangerous combo together. Like and the problem with when we go out together sometimes is you don't know when the party should end.
Right.
You don't know when it's time to.
The difference between you and Nicole, because you're both sanguine, primarily. If someone upsets you, you might hit them. If someone upsets Nicole, she's going to make peace.
She'll swallow it.
Yeah.
She'll listen. The danger in being my wife's temperament of sanguine phlegmatic is you can become a doormat.
Yeah,
and people could walk all over you and take advantage of it. And not just that, like. People have no problem telling my wife when they think she did something wrong, where they would never say it to me because they know they're going to get punched in the face. It's like maybe not punched in the face, but like people will hold back from saying something to me because they know there's going to be a confrontation. where my wife will sit there and she'll feel so terrible that she upset someone. Like if my wife thinks somebody's mad at her, it really deeply affects her. Where me, I have to tell her constantly, I'm like, who cares what these people think of you? Like, I don't care what people think of me.
Whereas, like, for me, like, obviously, I want to be, I don't ever want to upset anyone. It's hard to say. I have that diplomatic part of me that tries to make not friends, because I don't really like people. How do I say it? I have that diplomatic side to me, but if I'm mad at someone for a reason, I want them to be mad at me. I thrive on that. Then that's that melancholic part of me, right? Like, I want them to be pissed at me because I'm pissed at them. I want them to dislike me because I dislike that. It's a kind of a...
Okay, I can give you a perfect example. You were mad at me the other day. You didn't say a word to me. You did not say a word. You just deactivated your Twitter account for a while. Now, you never said who you were upset with. You didn't have to, right? But I knew I pushed things too far, right? And it's like, sometimes when you say nothing, it's worse than you saying something.
I'm trying to remember what you were doing, though, because it wasn't just
Jake.
you.
It was me and Jake. So I think it was, first of all, you love Jake. Jake is he's godfather of your child.
I can't not. Like, he's been in my life.
He's such a great guy.
Yeah, he is.
Man, he's like an amazing guy. But him and I butt heads sometimes, right? Like,
but at the same time, like, I wasn't upset with you. Like, I was upset at the situation. I was upset at the fact that, like, what I was trying to do to fix it wasn't working. Yeah. That's what upset me.
Yeah.
And that's why I just
either way, you got frustrated, right? And it's like, you got so frustrated, you were like, I'm just tapping out. I
had to.
I can't even watch this crap anymore. So you never said a word to me, and you not saying anything was so impactful. It's like, I wish my silence had that kind of an effect. I don't know if I'm capable of it.
See, what's funny is, like, the fact that you're actually like bringing it up and talking about it is, like, so foreign to me. Like,
you're like, why are we talking about this,
Anthony? It was buried. Let's leave it buried. Why are we talking about it?
Okay, so I think you and I, no, as Nicole said, you like making people uncomfortable. I do, but that's not what I'm doing. I think that honesty, especially in a situation like this, is good. It's good.
The fact that you just brought it up and, like, we're willing to talk about it and, like, clearly aren't upset about it, that's big. Like, that I don't know, that it's big for our friendship.
Well, first off, I think I push you.
Man, this is getting really gay.
I think I push you out of your comfort zone, and then I think that when I see your reaction, I'm so concerned with your reaction that I even toned it down. I even said to you, I was like, dude, I'll chill out. I was like, I'll take a little break. You're like, don't take a break. It's not that serious. Like,
no, it really wasn't. That melancholic dump that we talked about on the show, that was about to happen. Like, I was about to let loose on you and Jake and flipping everyone else, and I didn't want to do that.
I knew you were going to. So I texted you. I said, Rob, you don't need to say anything. Wait, I was just thinking this is getting gay. So I'm just trying to break down the fifth wall. Like, you guys, like, I'm trying to just share, like, what goes on behind the scenes. So look, there's a lot of podcasts where you see guys do it together, but they're not friends. Like, I don't know. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, when Taylor and Tim Gordon were together, like, they texted each other and stuff, but I don't think they had, like, a real, because they had a blowout and the show ended. She asked, how do I know? I don't know. I'm guessing. I'm guessing.
Everyone knows, but no one talks about it except Anthony, because he'll talk about anything.
Look, one of my weaknesses is gossiping. That's one of my weaknesses, right? So it's like, Nicole, can I do my show? Like, this is why I'm in the basement.
Are they going to see this?
No, me and Rob are pre-recording. We'll cut this. We'll edit it out later. It won't go out over air. It's not even going to be on air. We're going to edit this out later.
For the record, we've never edited anything out.
She's so funny.
Concerns will you know how apologize to the world, Carl.
Go back to your basement.
Joseph, I did know that. I mean, I know they more or less hated each other's guts.
Okay, do you know why? It wasn't that they originally did. It's that they stopped having beers together. Right? Like they stopped having beers together. They stopped being friends. Like that's all that happened. So like you see this with Vice magazine. You had Gavin McInnes and what's the other guy? Shane Smith. They start Vice magazine in Canada.
Vice as in like now Vice TV and like
Vice
Gavin
TV.
McInnes was part of that.
Gavin McInnes started Vice with Shane Smith. They were best friends. They were these punk rock like hipsters in Canada. They start Vice together. They stopped hanging out together. And eventually such a wall came up that Shane Smith drifted so far the other way. He stopped.
I know Gavin McInnes isn't like actually conservative. He's more just a libertarian, but like Vice is so far, I would have never thought.
They grew apart so much that Gavin was just like, what is going on? And what wound up happening is Shane Smith bought Gavin out. And Gavin got a couple million to go his own separate way. And that's what wound up happening. He took a couple million and he walked away from it. That's where Gavin McInnes comes from. He comes from Vice magazine. Yeah. But I've heard him tell the story, and it's like he's like, yeah, we just stopped like hanging out. Like we stopped liking each other. Once you stop like being friends, that's where the problem comes.
I know at the beginning, like Vice was doing some pretty like not that they weren't always somewhat liberal or leftist, right? But
no, they weren't.
A lot of what they were doing was pretty cutting edge, journalism.
Well, even before like so once what happened with Vice is HBO bought them out.
Yeah.
But before that, they were a magazine. And they were just like punk rock. Like they were just doing like weird things. Like, I don't know. It was just wacky stuff. Like they were just cutting edge, wacky stuff. It was like, and then like they just drifted apart. And then Shane Smith saw a chance to make 100 million by selling it to HBO, and he did. So
Margot, I don't think you have to worry about either of us going left.
So back to the whole thing from the other day. It was like that. You not saying anything was traumatic for me almost. I'm like, oh man, like I was so worried I pushed you too far. But I think so I think our two temperaments actually complement one another, right? Like, especially for what we're doing right now. The most fun I have doing this is when it's just me and you talking. I enjoy the trivia show. I do have fun doing that. But my favorite shows are some of those where me and you just sit down and we have no plan. And we're just like, let's just see where this goes. And those are some of the most entertaining ones. It's just natural conversation between two friends.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I agree.
And we talk about it all the time. We actually were saying, I was texting Rob yesterday. I'm like, all right, I got ideas out. Like I have so many ideas. So I wanted to do can we actually air? Can we show that?
What?
Like this horrific trend on YouTube Shorts?
Yeah, I can share a tab. I want to be careful what we show.
I want to show just that one I sent you. Wait, Mark needs the link.
That was an iMessage. Oh yeah, let's get Mark in here.
Yeah, hang on.
Because of everyone in our friend group.
Oh, that was a half hour ago, dude. I hope. Oh man,
he didn't say it on here. We would have seen.
Oh, let's see if we can get him in because I love talking to Mark.
Yeah, and he's the one we know the least about temperament wise. Actually,
I know. Yeah, what is Mark's temperament?
He's got a real idealistic streak in him, so he's got to be part melancholic.
I think he's the opposite of you because he's very likable and but he's got the idealism in him, but he's also he can't stay on. Stay for 5 minutes, just get in here.
Yeah, so Lauren's right here. Phlegmatic melancholics are mad when we don't say anything at all. Like I'm not an extrovert, so I'm not like super talkative, and I take a while to formulate a response, but because I'm always like trying to mend fences or keep a relationship, like if I'm completely dead zoning someone, it's because I'm pissed.
Well, let me give you an example of how that works. Me and my wife, right? My secondary is choleric, confrontational. Hers is phlegmatic, right? So what happens is we have a fight. She will give me the silent treatment, and I want to go to war. Like, how the hell is she able to sleep right now? This is insane. I can't believe I'm in my room losing my mind. Like, I can't sleep. My mind is turning like this. It's going crazy. And she could just turn it off and go to sleep. And I'm like, this is inhuman.
That's another thing. Like, I can, and I don't know if this is temperament wise, but I can fall asleep and ask my wife home. I can fall asleep in literally 45 seconds in any circumstance, anywhere. Whereas,
okay, let's see.
I'm sleeping.
What's going on?
Mark,
What's up, Mark?
I was just saying. So if me and my wife have an argument, right?
Okay.
So because we're both sanguine, so we're both extroverted, and then my wife has phlegmatic, which is more like Rob, and I'm choleric, which is like alpha male aggressive.
You have
So
to
we'll
start
have an
defining some of these words if you want me to keep up here, man.
So
I would watch the
we both have the same primary temperament,
Okay.
but our secondaries are so opposite. So my secondary is very aggressive, alpha male. Hers is more like Rob, where it's she can hold it in, keep the peace. And so if we have an argument, I'm in the room losing my mind while she's passed out on the couch like nothing ever even happened, and she could fall asleep like that, and my brain is going
Did you
like
hear
this.
Hold on. Did everyone hear that?
Yeah,
Anthony kicks his wife to the couch.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's not even that I kick her. She will walk out of the room because if she stays in the room, I'll keep fighting. I don't kick her anywhere. It's just I want her to stay in the room. I don't want her to leave. I'm like, no, we have to finish this. I can't go to bed without completing the argument. It's like, no, I don't know how a human being can go to sleep before figuring it out and making up.
Well, my experience of you, Anthony, is that you not only can we'll have a discussion about how many angels can dance on the head of a pin, but you will go to war over your position on this topic. I mean,
think about me and Jason.
It'll just be over a different, using a different word.
A semantic difference. Me and Jason were going at it over
semantic
difference.
Which no, but I dig that. I actually kind of, it's one of the things about you that I like. I when I was a kid and I used to hear in the Gospels that Jesus would spit you up out of his mouth if you were lukewarm. I never understood what that meant until you become an adult and you meet lukewarm people, and you're just like, yeah.
Wait a second. Hold on. Weakness for a lukewarm. Oh, son of a.
So wait a minute. Now, Rob, how do you figure out, does Jesus have all four temperaments?
Yes.
Why wouldn't you ask it?
I didn't want to sound stupid.
Yes.
So stupid. That would have been a brilliant question.
That is actually a good question.
I was supposed to ask me it, but I was like, duh, he's God.
Nicole, that would have been a brilliant question because we only have the things he says. So you're only going based on the writings, but I would.
So yeah, they do discuss it in the book, and him being a perfect man, right, with a perfect nature, he would have the perfection of all four temperaments.
So Nicole, he would have had the perfection of all four temperaments. Yeah, but that's not a stupid question. What do you mean?
Yeah, a lot of people wouldn't even think to ask it. That's a good question.
Nicole, sometimes you're too timid. I criticized her. She's upset.
That's just my
Yeah.
theory. I don't think that's a temperament. I think that's an.
You're the best. I love you.
She's right. Jesus didn't have temperaments. He had a perfect nature. Yeah. Temperaments are different aspects of a complete human nature.
Yeah. He would have had a perfect. He would have had a perfectly rounded.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not a stupid question to ask the temperament. No. Like that would have not. No way would that have been a stupid question.
That's actually a very good question. Shout out to Margo. I see you in the comments section.
Mark, we're trying to figure out what you are because you're one of the most likable people too. Like you, I think you're very similar to my wife. Like you are outgoing. You're not an introvert. You're definitely an extrovert, right? So,
yeah, I have my moments. I mean, I have extroversion moments, but then when I'm done, I'm done. So like,
so
I don't know
not
if you
to-
guys noticed, but there was like a point that night in Steubenville where I was like, okay, I'm just waiting for you guys to wrap up because I'm ready to go and I'm ready to go to sleep.
okay. So do you find social interactions draining?
Oof, yeah, they can be. I mean, it all not. It depends on the social interaction. If I'm going to go hang out with you
after
guys,
one,
no.
do you need to be alone to recharge, or does being with people recharge you?
Man, that's a good question. I don't even know.
So that's the thing about the
I have to
temperament
think about
quiz.
this stuff.
Yeah, Mark, the temperament quiz is not easy. So there, some of the questions are like, that's one of the questions. It's when you, okay, so like if you're bummed out, do you need to be alone to recharge or do you need to be around people? So for me, I was telling Rob, if I had a really bad day at work and then we're going to do the show, I come on the show and that recharges me. Being around people, it gets me going. Like it actually puts me in a good mood to be around you guys and actually have a conversation.
I think
No.
I'm more of a solo, like being alone, having some like alone downtime really recharges me.
And like being on the show, it can make one of my bad days a lot better too. And like I love it, but afterwards, I need to be alone with Hope, like watching TV to shut my mind.
Yeah,
down,
that's
right?
the other thing. Like I like to be alone, but my wife is the person that I like to hang out with the most. She is, which I've been around couples that just don't like each other, and believe me, that's not a lot of fun. And I was always worried about that growing up as a kid. Like, man, I really hope that if and when I get married, that it works out because it hasn't
So
with a lot of people that I know. So,
are you and your wife homebodies or
oh,
do you
big
guys,
time,
you
big
guys are
time,
homebodies?
yeah, big time.
Okay.
Hope and I
You and
are
Hope
too.
are. Yeah.
Oh,
So
completely.
me and Nicole love to go out and do stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, so she's a little upset because I didn't take her out because she got all dressed up. I told her, I was like, we'll do the show and then we'll go out. And
I mean, like Hope and I like going out for dinner, but we wanted to be someplace quiet. We want to be at a table away from people, and
she
stuff
wants
like
to
that.
dance. She wants to be on the dance floor.
No,
She
Hope
wants
and
to
I.
be.
Well,
Nicole wants to be in the mix, dancing and
I don't
hanging out.
see. I don't see
person
how
to
anybody
person.
could be married to you and not be that way. You know what I'm saying?
No, all right. So Nicole, he said, I don't know how anybody could be with you and not be that way. Like, I don't think any other temperament could handle me, right? Like,
I got a buddy who's just like you. He's a Protestant, but his name is Dustin, and he is like the
Christ.
extrovert, biggest personality in the world. His wife's got a huge personality too, and we've often said, like only those two could make it work, because if she were any different, or if he were any different, the two of them would not
yeah.
be able to stand each other.
yeah, I think God puts us with people. Like I hear couples that like they'll go out to dinner and they have nothing to say to each other. I couldn't imagine not having anything to say to my wife.
Oh, we have those. Yeah, we have those. But they're not tense.
It's not
or
awkward. No,
Yeah.
I mean there are. I know Hope would say that she wants me to talk more with her, but there are times when her and I are completely fine, like just being with each other, like, and not filling the air with words. I mean, that's how it feels to me sometimes. Is people fill air with
Don't
words
talk for the sake of talking,
right?
like just for the sake of it. Hon, they can't hear you, and I'm listening to them.
She's reminding me so much of my mom right now. My mom will talk to me.
When she hears the things I'm saying, she doesn't hear what you guys are saying. So I say something, she's responding to.
My mom will have a conversation with me on a different floor of the house when there's no way I could possibly hear her.
She likes to talk too. She's like right now. Here's the thing. She wants to be on with us, hanging out with us right now. But she's like, I don't want to be on hanging out with you guys because she doesn't know what we're talking about most of the time. So then come and hang.
I didn't know who the heck that person was you were talking about.
Nicole, why don't you come and meet Mark? You never met Mark.
The Catholic drama.
Come and meet Mark.
I'm pretty drama free. I'm probably the crankiest.
So this is Mark, who I went to student. Go ahead, phone in. Say hello, Mark. This is my wife, Nicole.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Nicole. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, please please. I hope I'm not the reason that you have taken off.
No, they were talking about like
we started getting into
stuff
church stuff, and she's like, I don't want to hear about. I don't know who this Archbishop Lefebvre
I didn't know
is.
who Lefebvre.
That's what she said.
I did. I was like, I don't know that Lefebvre.
But isn't that weird that like so many Latin Mass people nowadays, like they don't care about Lefebvre or any of that. That doesn't even factor into their equation.
My family doesn't pay attention to any of the church.
Yeah. Well, that's what some of the people were saying when Traditionis Custodes came out is that Francis obviously is stuck in the old politics of this, because most of the people who are going to Latin Mass nowadays, they don't care who Lefebvre was. They don't care about what happened.
I try to protect them from it.
I don't go on Twitter and all those things.
I'm not on Twitter either.
Uninformed Twitter.
I can't even hear you.
No, let me tell you something. There's something admirable about it, because she's not caught up in, oh my gosh, what's happening now? What's happening now? What's happening now? It's like there's something admirable about not needing to know what is happening. Like it's just
there's something Catholic about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes I feel like I put myself in my little.
No, she'll only ask me once. So she goes, so what's happening?
And then I'm like, all right, enough. I don't want to know anymore.
As soon as I tell her one thing, she goes, I don't want to hear this. I don't care.
Dude, the most liberating day of like recent memory of my life is when I've deleted my Facebook.
Yeah.
Man, and like my life just started to get better when I wasn't being inundated with all this quote unquote news that was coming across. And
yeah, so Margot's saying she eats up all the commentary. Like, well, Margot, you're also single, right? So it's like, it's not, it's just easy for, like, and I'm at work all day, and it's like I'm sitting around, like, I got nothing better to do than listen to the news and what's going on in the world. But, like,
it's
it really is.
It's not nothing better to do. I just feel like I'm just always on the run. I need to focus on, like, what's in front of me. Like with my kids, I'm just like all over the place.
I think we could all do better at that, right?
I try. It's hard enough for me to just focus on like the task.
She almost had a meltdown when I tried to tell her about. Remember the story of the nurse that was purposely putting air in the kids?
Like I can't.
Like
it'll ruin my entire.
Just hearing that story made her like, please, why are you telling me? Like
I'll end up on the couch.
I texted you guys earlier, but I listened to Daryl Cooper's the Martyr Maid episode on
Anti-Humans.
Well, yeah, but I also listened to the one on the My Lai Massacre today. Oh,
I didn't hear that one.
It's hard because growing up as the more typical like Republican conservative, like rah rah America, let's go. It was one of those events that I wrote off to being just a liberal lie, but to really hear it at a point in my life now where I guess I'm more well-rounded and more willing to just accept truth for truth. It was hard. It was hard to listen to. Really hard.
What is that? The My Lai?
What is it? My
Lai. It's a Vietnamese word, so there's
the My Lai Massacre.
During
the Vietnam War.
A company of American soldiers massacred over 500 women, children, and old men and women in a village in Vietnam. And like,
guys, I gotta bow out.
Mark, thank you so much for popping on, man.
God bless you. It was nice meeting you, man.
Mark, great Byzantine show. That was awesome.
Oh,
dude.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you guys.
Guys, if you guys don't watch Tradmen, they're the only podcast that like I love. Like not the only one, but I love listening to their show, man. You guys got to check it out.
Y'all are too kind. I love listening to y'all too. Y'all take care.
All right, Mark.
Yeah, take it easy, Mark.
See ya, man.
So wait, so you listen to the podcast? It's just American soldiers massacred.
And like the Daryl Cooper who does Martyr Maid, he explained why he does shows like that. Like, and he even he said, like, because he reads so much and does so much preparation, and he's like, afterwards he questioned like why he did it, like, because like it made him feel like crap, right? But he's like, he wanted to do it because there was one or two cases of people doing the right thing, you know, of people being heroes in this terrible event, this terrible circumstance. So like that was definitely a positive to it. But yeah, just it makes you realize that when it comes down to it, people are just people, and everyone's capable of doing terrible things, no matter how willfully ignorant you try to be.
The anti-humans episode, when they get into what the communists were doing to deprogram people, like they would, especially the priests and nuns, the things they did in Soviet Russia to priests was so horrific, making the priests to perform sex acts with each other and making them I couldn't even repeat some of the stuff that, like, it's so horrific what they, because if you had hope, or if you had this thing inside you that you were saying like, all right, I still believe in Jesus Christ, they wanted you to hate Jesus.
If you acknowledged anything that was ephemeral, right? Anything immaterial, they wanted to just crush it. They wanted you to be an animal.
Yeah, not just that they wanted you to lose your faith. They wanted you to hate your faith. They wanted they wanted your suffering, you to relate your suffering so closely with your faith that you thought your faith was the cause of your suffering, and that there was nothing of hope in it, and that it was the reason you were going through what you were going through. And it was so horrific, the things they would make these men do. They would make one of them dress as the Virgin Mary, and while they were assaulting them, and it was just so horrific, making these men eat feces, consecrated feces, as if they were the host. The things they did, it was so hard to listen to. And you just say, it's so crazy how all we hear about are the Yahtzees, because we can't say that word. You hear about the Yahtzees all the time, but the communists were a million times worse.
Like Daryl, who also did that show, like he was explaining, is like, yeah, there's so many different atrocities throughout history and in the 20th century, and so many different belief systems, right? Like, yeah, obviously what the German Third Reich did was obviously abhorrent and horrific. And I mean, for those that were true believers, they were crazy, absolutely. But at the same time, that you can recognize, right? You recognize it as human. It's terrible, but and it's a terrible side of humanity, but it's human. You know, like, you learn history, and even in the Bible, you read about some of the things like the Assyrians did and the Babylonians did and all that. You recognize it as human, and it's terrible, but it's still human. But the communists, it was completely different, right? I mean,
they starved a million people out, to the point, like, when you know what they did to the Ukrainians, like, they starved these people out, and if they found like a morsel of bread in your house, if you weren't losing your mind trying to eat yourself and cannibalize, they knew you were hiding food, so they would go back and research your house. The people were trying to eat dirt for nourishment. They wouldn't even let them eat grass or anything. It was so horrific what they did in that country. It should be all that we hear about, because they're trying to bring communism back as if that's not the return of what would happen.
Well, I mean, it's never left, right? I mean, if you think about it, the communists, it's completely a materialistic belief system, right? They don't believe in the human soul. They don't believe in God, obviously, but it's not just that. They don't believe in bravery. They don't believe in heroism. They don't believe in love. They don't believe in anything that isn't material. And they want to absolutely crush you and deprogram you. And they call it taking the mask off. They believe the ideals of like love and heroism and like I said, anything that isn't material is just a mask that people wear. And they want to break you down and turn you into an animal and take that mask off. And that's what critical race theory is. That's what feminism really is. It's trying to turn you into an animal and take the mask off.
Yeah.
It's just inhuman.
It's like
anti-human.
that's why he calls that episode anti-human, because it really is all the things that make us unique. They want to destroy, and they want to just make you a machine or an animal with no soul. It's like we really don't have any idea what we're playing with right now. When you see all these people with their with the trans movement and all that stuff. So go ahead, you can go.
I mean, you're right. The trans movement is a perfect example of modern communism, of that same sort of belief where it's all material. Now, the trans movement's base desires, exactly. To them, they think gender in male and feminine, they say it's whatever you want it to be, but they still try to come up with material explanations for it, right? Like pseudoscientific explanations for it in the brain. But it's just so they can deprogram you and make you less than human.
Yeah. Yeah, the further they get you away from belief in God, it's like I'm telling you, it's why are these people not know their gender identities? Because they've lost their identity in God. Like if you don't know God created you male and female, then you don't know if you're male or female, because you don't have your identity in God anymore.
And not it definitely starts there, right? I mean, that's where it started in our society is the taking God. I mean, it started a long time ago. I mean, in America, it started in 1776.
It did, but every single thing we're seeing right now can all be brought down to birth control.
Right. Everything we see is a way of tearing out different parts of your identity. It started with God, but then the tearing out of true masculinity and true femininity, the tearing out of our national, not that America really has a national identity, but the tearing down of what we believed America to be, right? Whether it was true or not, the idea of being a nation where everyone gets a fair shot, where there's opportunity for everyone. They're tearing it down to tear away our identity, to tear us out of our communities,
and to destroy anything that unites us as a culture. Cole, can you turn the air off? It's pretty cold.
Cold?
Yeah.
You cold?
So it can all be. It's crazy how important chastity is. Like people don't understand. Like all of this it comes down to, once you destroy chastity, culture falls apart. It is really what holds a culture together. And like once you start playing with sexual ethics like that, the social cohesion falls apart. And it gets violent.
And I think there's a few reasons for that. One is, it all comes to the family, right? Like, what's one of the few differences between humans as rational animals and base animals? It's the fact that we have families to where
what animals have the mother and father stay with the young?
Very few. And even then there's very few extended things, and it's more tribes, right? It's not family in the sense where it's based in love.
Yeah.
Right. And animals copulate and mate just based on animal desire, and that's what they've turned us into now, right? That's all it is. It's desire and base instinct.
Well, Margot, I would absolutely bring you on. I think we're going to wrap it up now. That's the only thing, because it's getting late and I got food coming.
Hoping I haven't eaten, and I promise I'd make your salmon.
But Margot, next time we do something like this, you can come on and hang with us.
We should have Margot on just to do a show about chastity. I'm up for that.
Yeah, definitely. Don't think we're blowing you off, Margot. We are literally. I mean, I just wanted to. I felt like the show was incomplete after they left, so I just wanted to get on and. So we have next Thursday, we're doing trivia, but then Friday, I think we may do something again, right, Rob?
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to do another, just the two of us. So we'll have a little more of a game plan next week, but it's going to be another free-for-all. but we will have a little bit more of a game plan next Friday.
Don't forget, next week's on Meaning of Catholic.
Yeah. So trivia next Thursday, Meaning of Catholic. I don't think I'm going to do special guests. I think I'm just going to do home crew.
It'd be good to introduce the Meaning of Catholic people to
our players, our regular players. And it's like, and I feel more relaxed around. Like
last night started, it really did start a little rough just because you're not sure. And it's not just because it was a priest, partly, but you never know how a new person's going to react to us.
Yeah. I was a little shocked at how stern he was when I put the cat on. I'm like, can you perform an exorcism on the cat? Like, I thought he would have laughed a little more at that.
And I don't know if it's just that his personality, or I don't know. I don't know him well enough.
I was expecting a big laugh from that one. Like, I have this demon cat. Can you do an exorcism through the screen?
And he's just thinking, oh, this crazy New York Italian.
Yes, that's exactly what he was thinking. But I did text him afterward, and he was like, I would love to come on and just talk with you guys. You know, I thought he was too, Lauren. We were just saying how he fit in with his dry humor with us. He threw shots at me right away. I was bummed my internet. Ben was supposed to come on with us yesterday.
We'll probably have room for next week, I'd imagine.
Yeah, Ben, when are you come on with us on Thursday? Because I'm going to ask just our regulars. We don't have any, special guests or crazy things like that. So we'll play home team on Thursday. So, guys, thanks for hanging with us. It was a fun night. I'm interested to see how people react to the regular Temperament show. We'll see what people thought. My cousin Eddie texted me. He said it was great, and I usually trust his opinion.
I'm excited to put that one up on podcast. That should, I think it should do pretty well on there.
Yeah, that's a good one to just listen to. Absolutely. So
yeah, this show might be too, actually.
You should maybe on the podcast connect them.
Yeah, we'll get double the views if we do it separately.
Yeah, okay. Guys, we're trying to grow this thing. You guys have to help us break the algorithm. Hit like, please subscribe if you're not subscribed, because we still have like 30% of our audience isn't subscribed. But share it. Like, you have to break the algorithm because YouTube doesn't promote our stuff. They just don't. So if you guys share it, that's how you defeat the algorithm.
We say way too many of the words you're not supposed to say.
Yeah. Definitely. But we're also not big enough yet, so they don't see us as a valuable asset yet.
And that's the thing. Like, when we say we want to get to 1,000 subs, it's like, yeah, that's the monetization level and it'd be nice, but that's not really why we say because that's also the point of where like YouTube will push you more because
you're monetized
because it makes them more money.
Yeah.
So, and the same thing goes for podcasts, a little bit different, but pretty similar. So,
yeah, come on, help us get over that 1,000 mark, man. We're like,
but also shy. Make sure you watch, or make sure you subscribe and like stuff on here. But honestly, go watch it over at SFTV. If you ever miss a live show, go over to Census Fidelium TV.
Because, we want to build that platform up
because you're not giving flipping Google money at that point. So.
Yeah, Census Fidelium TV is where it's at. Yeah, we can't do live streams from there yet, but once they get that capability, we're going to really try and push the audience over that way, because I don't want to be beholden to YouTube, because they can just end you at any time. You say one stupid thing that they don't like, and they'll just that's it.
Let's just be glad they haven't listened to any of our stuff yet then.
All right, man, take us out. Tell Hope I said thank you for giving me your time.
I'll do that.
All right, bud.
Okay, have a good night, everyone.
I'll see you.
Take me back to my reversion. Unite the clans, I give thanks to each person.